Well, I wish I had better news, but Rings of Power Season 3 is officially going to happen. And that means Amazon is driving another nail into the coffin that is human expression through storytelling. Let's talk about it. Welcome to The Pondering. I am the real-life fake wizard. If this video brings you any value at all, consider subscribing to this channel where we're posting new videos nearly every day. Rings of Power is so bad. It's so bad that I stopped covering Season 2 on this channel. I got to like episode 3 or 4 and I had to stop. It's obnoxiously mediocre. And if it was just mediocre, it would be fine. But this is an adaptation of JRR Tolkien's legacy. And as I said in a video earlier this week, adaptations are killing entertainment. The morons at MGM who are stewarding this creation fit all three of the criteria of awful steward. They're creatively incompetent, they have hatred towards the audience, and they're politically driven. If you are a writer or a producer in Hollywood and you have even one of those three things, you should not steward a legacy franchise. And so Season 2 ended with really awful ratings in comparison to the investment dollars that Amazon spent to acquire the rights to this show, and there were rumors, like little glimmers of hope, that the show was about to be canceled. I never really much subscribed to those rumors. Sometimes life is just not kind like that. And now we know what Season 3 will be. Jumping forward several years from the events of Season 2, Season 3 takes place at the height of the War of the Elves and Sauron, as the Dark Lord seeks to craft the one ring that will give him the edge he needs to win the war and conquer all Middle-earth at last. Well, that sucks. You know why? Because the importance, the significance of the stories from Professor Tolkien are being flayed on screen as a sacrifice for a mega corporation trying to sell ad slot time. You know, you want to make a bad show? Go make a bad show. You do not need to continue bringing legacy franchises into it. Two main problems come up with Rings of Power, and one is significantly worse than the other. The first is reductionism to Sauron. Sauron is a complex character. There's a lot there to connect with. There's a lot there to understand. And this television show has reduced him down to being a crying buffoon that only succeeds because of luck. In the books, he's a mastermind manipulator, playing on people's wants and desires. Halbrand is a gossip girl. He doesn't command nearly the level of respect or rapport that Sauron in the books did. Another point to the reductionism, he's not special anymore. Something that makes Sauron special, especially in the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings books, is that he's not really there. He's not really physically present. After he loses the One Ring, he becomes more of a symbol than a present character. The Peter Jackson films captured this perfectly. Sauron feels like a true threat, an end-of-the-world level force, a force of nature that just wants to kill everyone. His absence creates respect. And now, if you're going just based on Rings of Power, he's a punk crybaby that just keeps getting lucky because Galadriel and every living being in the world is incompetent. That's what Rings of Power has done. It has sucked the significance out of Tolkien's world. That is, if you know that's what it's doing. I said earlier there are two problems. The first is how they've adapted Sauron, or how they've adapted Tolkien and all of Middle-earth. The second problem is no one really knows. No one really knows what's going on or what they've done. Sure, you and I will know. You and I can talk about it. I'll make videos and we can talk about it on Twitter, but in the grand scheme, it will hardly matter. It hardly matters now. Normies watch the Peter Jackson films and say those are really good. And because they're normies, they think that adaptation equals origin. Talk to the normies. They think all the books to film adaptations are one-to-one clones. So you take something like Rings of Power, which is objectively bad, and give it to the normies. Those normies now think that Rings of Power is authentically genuine, that Professor Tolkien would have written the characters just like this in the original books. And because normies do what they do, they don't read the books. They take the Amazon Prime creation at face value. I said that you and I don't matter, and here's why. Let's play this out. In 2 or 3 or 4 generations, when you and I are dead, and our children are dead too, The normies remain, and Rings of Power remains, the next adaptation remains, the next film remains too, and because these companies have been able to run rampant with their adaptations that we blindly and foolishly fund with our dollars and purchases, we are funding these bastardizations in adaptations. We are funding the corruption of Tolkien's work. We are funding the death of storytelling. It's not just Lord of the Rings that these modern-day creatives are trying to leave their mark on. It's storytelling. It's the stories that instill human values, heroic values, and heroism itself. It's not just Middle-earth or Star Wars or Star Trek. It's not just Disney classics or Doctor Who. There are 5 people ruining entertainment: corporate executives, marketing professionals, journalists, influencers, and writers. And the writers here are all over the entertainment industry, and they have made it their mission to pull the values of heroism from the corpse of beloved stories and replace it with their entitled, narcissistic egotism. You look at Galadriel in this show. Oh yeah, she's a girl boss. No, it's actually worse than that. You put Captain Marvel 2019 next to Galadriel, and Captain Marvel looks like Mother Teresa. Captain Marvel looks like a saint. Girl bossing is surface level on this one. For Rings of Power specifically, go deeper. Galadriel's actions result in genocidal levels of death in this show. She's reckless, she's insubordinate, and she is wrong. 99% of the time, her choices are wrong, leading to wide-sweeping devastation. But the show does not believe that she's wrong. The show wants you to praise her. The show wants you to believe that she's a hero, but she shares no traits with heroism. One of the largest, most neon-signed in the dark themes of Tolkien's books is exploring the virtues of heroism and that it requires great sacrifice and bravery. Look at Frodo compared to Galadriel. Throughout the entire story, Frodo battles with the ring's corruption. He questions his morality. His friends have to keep him in check. But we as the audience understand that he's battling with the doubts and emotions that we ourselves would be facing should we have taken on that mission. We can empathize with his challenges because we, real people, face challenges in our own lives. Galadriel, though, put the One Ring in front of this adaptation of Galadriel and tell me she wouldn't take it immediately to fight her enemies. And of course, the idiot writers would find some uninspired way to say, oh, she's just so powerful and strong that she can resist the One Ring. These writers treat Galadriel with the worst writing trope ever. The power was inside you all along is nonsense, and that is the most pathetic way to write, because it's not real. The power isn't inside of you. It's not inside me. You want to be powerful? You want to be strong? You want to accomplish things? You want to make a difference in your life or others' lives? Do you want to be a hero? You got to work really damn hard. You got to get knocked down and fail and struggle with doubts. And sometimes you just want to give up. But you can't give up, because heroes don't quit. You gotta come face to face with the realism that you are a mortal man doomed to die. And then you gotta say, bring it on. Because to be a hero doesn't mean that you win, it means that you tried. And after 3 or 4 generations of stories telling our children that you deserve to be considered a hero just for existing, what is that going to do to humans as a species? We're already entitled and arrogant. What's a little more narcissism gonna do, huh? Create a few more little monsters to run around and cause havoc? It's not just Lord of the Rings or Wheel of Time or Dungeons and Dragons or Final Fantasy or Star Wars. It's storytelling. Their real target is storytelling. Everyone loves to use the term culture war, but I think we've all been mistaken on who the real target is. If writers in Hollywood and all the 5 people can nullify heroic human values and replace them with superficial virtues, if they can replace them with fake superpowers instead of real human spirit, then what's there to look up to? Who's there to inspire you? Who's there to be someone to try and live up to be better than you are today, to question those who seek to corrupt and control? If there are no more heroes, then you will be a selfish little drone consuming whatever Papa Corporation puts in front of you, never having an independent thought. This situation is not about Rings of Power. It's not about us. It's about what we leave behind. So here's a call to action, hero. This is what you can do. And genuinely, this is not a joke. Cancel Disney+. I know Rings of Power is Amazon. Let me explain. If you want to fight back, if you want to send a message to all of the entertainment industry, well, let's think, what's the easiest way to do that? Let's think in terms of strategy. Pretend this is a big battle like it's a game of chess. Many of these mega corporations are too big to fail if it's just you and me. Their armor is thick and their shields are massive. They are untouchable when it is you and I alone. If we don't go to the movies, if we don't shop at their stores, if we don't go to the theme parks, we don't watch the shows, sure, great, wonderful, but it's not enough. And again, this is a big battle. This is a culture war, right? Where are our opponents at their weakest? Where is the hole in the armor? Well, if we look, Disney is a general on the other side, and Disney Plus is the weakest and most important and most valuable piece on the entire chessboard. Disney is over-leveraged on Disney Plus. They've sunk billions of dollars into this platform, and everyone kinda universally knows that it's weak and vulnerable. They announced last week that 700,000 subscribers canceled their memberships, and you know what happened? Their stock price dropped. If Disney Plus falls, the world changes. It will send ripples throughout the entire economy that the free market can and will fight back. If you want to fight back, you need to cancel your subscription. You need to take the effort to say, I'm not going to be compliant in narcissist asshole writers killing my heroes. I'm not going to be compliant with corporate billionaires lining their pockets while destroying the human spirit. It starts with you. You have to be willing to try. Otherwise, they win by default. And I know some people in my comments will say, it's not a big deal. It's not that important. You really think this is that important? I don't think there's anything that matters more. I can't cure cancer. I can't stop world hunger. I can't stop natural disasters. I can't bring back loved ones from the dead. But you know what I can do? I can talk. I can use the little influence I have to try and tell you that these corporations hate us all. I can tell you that there is a way to fight back, should you choose to accept it. And I can try. And though a message like this won't go mainstream, when I'm lying in my deathbed, I won't say I wish. I will say I tried.